The Citadel Council has produced a report of the economic progress of Council space, which underwent a deep recession following the attack on the Citadel. The Citadel claims unemployment is falling amidst job growth, but the chairman of the Vol Protectorate has accused them of denying access to their statistical sources, thus allowing the Council to manipulate the data in their favor. The Council maintains that withholding sources is standard procedure in Turian, Asari, and Salarian government, and is vital to investor confidence. The extrasolar comet CR1331 Kingu will soon pass by the Hanar colony world of Belan, undercurrent. The comet contains a volatile gas element that the system's sun will warm up, but it is not known how the reaction will alter the comet's trajectory. It is impossible to determine whether the comet will strike Belan or simply pass it by. Hanar citizens are hastily evacuating the colony, while their government petitions the Turian fleet to commission a dreadnought to intercept the comet. Aish Ashland, granddaughter of energy magnate Jonah Ashland, attended her hearing this morning for red sand possession.
I think I and a whole lot of people don't even know why it's illegal,
she said.
Biotics have stuff like this in their nervous systems 24 hours a day. Why is it legal for them?
Her supporters surrounded the courthouse, hoping to get a glimpse of the socialite, whose infamy hasn't stood in the way of her ebook deal or other engagements, such as the event this evening in which Aisha's DNA will be donated to the Hollywood Bank of Fame. Three simultaneous break-ins at the Citadel Council's Ministry of Finance have provoked outrage from the Council and cast suspicions on the Vol Protectorate, who in recent months demanded to see galactic economic data that the Council refuses to make public.
We unilaterally condemn these actions, whether they were done in our name or not,
said Now Clan spokesman Odra Now.
The fact that this data has been posted on the extranet for all to see speaks to the dissent among the people the Council represents. But theft is a crime that our species takes seriously.
The Citadel Council approved of this condemnation in statements released this morning, but they do not consider the matter closed. The Asari Spectre, Tayla Wazir, has been assigned to the case. A panel of experts at the Institute for the Study of Astronomical Bodies have classified the comet CR1331 Kingu as harmless to the Hanar colony world of Belan. They say the comet's outgassing process will alter its course and it will cleanly miss the planet. The reaction on Belan ranged from gratitude to disbelief, while the Turians, who were considering sending a dreadnought to destroy the asteroid, welcomed the news and said they will send a news probe to observe the comet's historic passing. socialite Ashland has had her DNA rejected by the Hollywood Bank of Fame on the grounds that it does not match the sample attributed to her health ID card. Preliminary analysis indicates the DNA she submitted was that of a close female relative. Office water coolers galaxy-wide are buzzing with the news. Las Vegas casinos have placed odds on the identity of the sample, covering all her known relatives. The most popular is her close cousin Lily at 2-1. Additionally, odds that this is a deliberate publicity stunt are currently placed at 1.5-1. Earth nations gathered around their vidsets today for Super Bowl 219, an annual sporting and media event that culminates the North American Union Rules football season. The New York Giants defied expectations and took down the Beijing Dragons in a tight 24-19 game. The highlight was a 69-yard pass from Krogan QB Bragus Thull. The game's top 3 hit commercials were Aldrin Labs' hilarious Improvise, Unithirst's Coffee Cola Rock'n'Rolla, and Binary Helix's Not My Future, Thanks. As for the greatest tease, it goes to the trailer for the soon-to-be summer blockbuster Nekaya Corridor, which sends sports fans to the extranet trying to find out what the heck a Nekaya was. A growing consortium of scientists have signed an extranet petition claiming that the findings of the Institute for the Study of Astronomical Bodies concerning the Kingu Comet are in grave error. Using telemetry from the Shining Sky orbital station, they calculate that CR1331 Kingu will come close enough to produce a dangerous meteor shower and possibly disrupt the planet gravitationally. Millions of citizens are headed for higher ground to await the alleged doomsday, blocking all traffic arteries and overwhelming space wars. Travel to Galan has been restricted. The Citadel Council welcomes the planet Turvas to the galactic community today. The planet's sentient species, the Raloi, launched their first space telescope into orbit last year, which detected the presence of the Asari cruiser Azides. Tomorrow, visitors from all over the galaxy will land outside 6 cities on Turvas, bearing welcome wishes and gifts for the Raloi. Tickets for the Council's sponsored ships have been sold out for months, and due to disease concerns, no other ships are legally allowed planetfall at that time. A calm buoy near Turvas will be dedicated to sending welcome messages to the planet for 20 galactic standard hours. The Kingu Comet has hurtled past the Hanar colony world Belan, and its disruption has been devastating. Though the main body of the comet did not strike the surface of the planet, the comet, at 1/4 the size of Belan's moon, disrupted tides all over the planet with its gravity. Tsunamis have ravaged coastal cities all over the globe, breaking levees, flooding urban centers, and drowning non-Hanar citizens. The Citadel Council has declared the entire planet of Belan a disaster zone, and estimates of the full credit value of the damage will take months. The Kingu Comet's wake of destruction continues to dominate the news cycle. New video shows meteor showers caused by hot gases breaking giant chunks of ice off the comet. No population centers were struck by the impacts, which left craters up to 180 meters in diameter. Meanwhile, the Intergalactic Red Cross, the Turian Lifebearer Brigade, the Hanner organization Healing Waters, and hundreds of other charities galaxy-wide have pledged their support to housing and feeding the uncountable refugees of the planet. Images coming out of the Hanar colony world Belan are brutal. Though one might think an aquatic species such as the Hanar would survive flooding, tsunamis more than 15 meters high crushed many Hanar living close to the coasts. Collapsing buildings and broken power lines have also caused casualties. Pest-driven diseases plague the refugee camps, and insects and mold spores have infested abandoned neighborhoods. Reconstruction efforts have begun in some cities, beginning with the all-important drainage of areas still underwater. Spaceport traffic is still jammed as millions of citizens attempt to return to their homes. The verdict is in, and the news is stunning. Aish Ashland attempted to switch her own DNA at the Hollywood Bank of Fame with those of her estranged fraternal twin, Mina. The socialite said in interviews today that this was her way of apologizing to Mina for a lifetime of stealing her boyfriends and tormenting her.
My twin sister has always been the best of our family,
Aish said.
and I knew the world didn't need more Aishes. It needed more Minas, so I substituted a cheek swab of hers instead of my own.
The odds placed on Mina at gambling casinos came in at 42-1, the highest of any of her female relatives. Mina Ashland could not be reached for comment. Many human planets and colonies celebrate St. Valentine's Day today, a holiday themed around romantic love and the greeting card industry. Prospective or established mating partners exchange love notes with one another, and some add gifts of cut flowers, jewelry, or sugary confections in the hopes of receiving sexual favors. Industry insiders estimate over 2 billion Valentine messages will be sent this year on Earth, and an additional 5 billion throughout the human colonies. The holiday is rapidly spreading among the Asarian Volus, who embrace its unusual mix of commerce and reproduction. The Citadel Council delegation to the newly welcomed planet Cerberus ejected its Krogan representatives today after the introduction of a Krogan sport called Kaula devolved into a brawl that left 3 dead and 14 injured. The Krogan representatives denounced the ejection, saying that Kaula was successfully introduced to Cerberus with its traditions fully intact, and that there was no need to overreact. A poll taken among the Cerberus indicated that only 21% opposed the move to remove the Krogan from the remainder of the ceremonies. CSEC authorities have arrested a Turian lawmaker in the Citadel who was funding a Krogan project to rebuild a dreadnought on the planet of Tuchanka. Ellis Walteras, Duark of the Mead Cluster, smuggled everything from blueprints to rare materials to backpacks full of cash to the Talith clan, according to CSEC officials. The sting operation to capture Walteras took 1.5 years. If successfully prosecuted, Walteras faces life in prison with no possibility of parole. 6 members of a group calling itself Truth Hacks has been arrested for the illegal uploading of sensitive economic data from the Citadel Council. An additional 4 members of the group were shot to death in what appears to be an internal struggle. Taylor Wazir, the Spectre assigned to the case, had no comment on her role in these matters, saying only that she considers the case resolved and is pleased with the rapid results. Now that the celebrations on the planet Turfus have ended, a Ralloy delegation has been sent to the Citadel for a 3-month stay. The delegation will be educated in intergalactic law, history, alien biology and culture, and the rudiments of Mass Effect physics. Due to an outbreak of the H7N7 flu virus that infected the avian Ralloy during the opening ceremonies of the planet, the Ralloy on the Citadel will wear environmental suits whenever they are in contact with an alien species. The governmental response to the situation on Belan is receiving fire today. As fresh food supplies spoil, starvation and looting have become rampant. Some cities, such as New Plentiful, have been spared the worst of the chaos as their geography allows for emergency air and space lifts of supplies. Others, such as the subarctic city of Whitecap, must deal with a paralyzing lack of infrastructure as well as temperature extremes. The official global death toll has reached 110,000, and estimates place the complete figure anywhere from 1.1 to 3.5 million. Tonight's telethon to assist the disaster-struck planet of Belan should be a star-studded affair. A-list entertainers such as Alice Price Vladimir Bukin will appear in the 2-hour special, directed by Ronnie Lamb. So full is the guest list that the entire cast of the Extranet series Crash Cart was turned away at the door. Legends like Amita Vala will be putting in the hours working the comm units.
We want to let Belan know we're a caring galaxy,
she says.
And if it takes some rich and spoiled entertainers to call attention to the fact that a few million people just died, we're there for you, sister.
Filming of the space epic Nekaya Corridor took a turn for the worse today as lightning struck the leading man. Nathan Gold, star of the 5.1 billion credits so far Enterprise, was strapped to the surface of a spaceship in the upper atmosphere of a gas giant when lightning hit the hull. Insulated against most of the effect, the Golden One had his suit's electronic suit fried and had to signal for assistance to get oxygen. Director Morgan Bierster says he hopes the footage will stay in the final cut of the film.
You can't make stuff like this up,
says Bierster.
It's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime sensation.
This weekend's galactic box office crown went to the new dramedy hospital buddy actioner Heartbeat, at 3.8 billion credits, edging out the romantic horror Night Winds at 2.9 billion. In at third is the sleeper hit with Soft Shoe Number, at 800 million credits, surpassing its previous 3 weeks on the charts. The no-budget comedy about a Volus and an Elcor trying to make it on Broadway apparently has staying power, confounding Elcor and Volus critics who roasted the film. militant separatists on the Turian colony of Tatras have claimed responsibility for a downed commercial cruiser that crashed into a remote farming village on the planet. Believed to be a botched hijacking, the cruiser was going at orbital velocities when it hit the ground, creating a furrow 3 kilometers long and setting fire to the surrounding countryside. There were no survivors. Fire experts say the flight recorder is unlikely to have survived an impact at such speeds, which can exceed 30,000 kilometers per hour. The annual One Future Summit, a 7-day convention held on the Asari homeworld of Thessia by ecological conservation groups across the galaxy, opened its doors today. Attendance for the convention is estimated at 200,000 per day, with another 300,000 appearing virtually. All profits will be donated to conservational causes. This year's theme is terraforming. The convention hosts such luminaries as Ayali Tinuson and Ben Vabo. Elsewhere in the host city, the more radical fringe has reportedly set up a parallel underground convention called the One Chance Summit, in which eco-terrorism techniques are not barred from discussion. A Mantis spaceplane led the Earth Systems Alliance fleet on a high-speed chase tonight, originating in Mexico City. 16-year-old Jorge Asensio reportedly stole the plane from a poorly secured mercenary landing pad, having learned how to fly from a flight simulator computer game and the ship's onboard VI. Following major highways to his school, he buzzed the soccer field, before the United North American States Air Force was scrambled to deal with him. Climbing to the upper atmosphere, he outran the pursuing planes, was then pursued by Systems Alliance fighters in low Earth orbit, then ran out of fuel over Antarctica. After parachuting from the plane, he froze to death before authorities found his body. Charges of criminal negligence are now being filed with the Tiburon Rojo mercenary company. Sky Turnick, the sole surviving member of the Cerberus cell, responsible for the now infamous torture den of captive aliens on the Terminus System's planet Trident, escaped from custody at 9:37 local time this morning. A paramilitary attack using vectored thrust gunships destroyed the escort boats surrounding the prisoner transport and then took off with Turnick. Other prisoners in the transport bore witness to the event, some of them even helping the guards out of the water. Trident's Maritime Justice Department reports no leads in locating the escape craft, noting that Trident only has a few high-risk spy satellites or down-looking radar balloons to be tasked to such an operation. Asked if she believes the attack was commanded by Cerberus, Special Agent in Charge Angela Rao said,
"If it looks like a bomb and explodes like a bomb, it's a bomb."
Transworld 1 opened its doors for the first time today, inducting it into official records as the tallest building in the known galaxy. Built on the planet of Kosh in the Attican Traverse, Transworld 1 has its 1,002 stories devoted to shopping malls, office space, 3 hotels, a zoo and aquarium, and, of course, parking. Situated on a world where the gravity is only 70% of galactic standard, the building uses Mass Effect fields to lighten the load in key areas. This extravagance is paid for by a marked increase in rent. Office space in Transworld 1 comes at a pricey 61,000 credits per square meter per year. The manhunt to find Sky Turnic and his Cerberus allies has slowed space traffic to a crawl on the planet of Trident. In their dragnet to catch Turnic, the Global Maritime Justice have covered every starport on the planet. Critics say it's not a wise strategy.
There seems to be a hurry to show that they're doing something, when the most likely route of the planet is straight up,
said Ranier Drakensburg, mayor of Black Bay, Andrada. Global Maritime Justice responded in a press conference today, saying that they had no evidence that the alleged Cerberus criminals had single-stage-to-orbit capability. Additionally, many of the spaceports were already closed today due to the inclement weather that plagues Trident throughout its rainy season.